Hello my dear friends on LELB Society. In this session I'm going to teach you Unit 19 of 504 Absolutely Essential Words. And before starting, let me just show you the flashcards that exist here. I suppose there are so many flashcards here. This is, let me see, adequate means enough, sufficient, poor, opposite of rich, famine means starvation, a period of time in which there is just a short supply of water and food. Urgent is necessary, essential. Vicinity means proximity, nearness. As you can see, the teddy bear is so close to the ball. And okay, this is decrease, means to go down, descend, reduce. Expensive, so easy. And illustrative here means costly, not cheap. Commence is a start. And migration or migrate means to move from one place from one place to another. And this is possible, means something that is doable, you can do it. And this is prohibit or ban or forbid. Wow, there are so many more flashcards here. Source means the origin of something. As you can see, A here is the origin of B. Reveal, to disclose, to show. And essential is necessary. Okay. So this is Unit 19. We're so close to put an end to this course book. So okay, the first word is harvest, means gathering in of grain or other food crops. Remember, grain are some small seeds of some crops, for example wheat, rice, that you can eat. This year's harvest was adequate to feed all our people. So we had a huge harvest or adequate harvest, hopefully. The farmer decided to expand his fields so that he could get a bigger harvest. So he wanted to make an investment. He decided to expand or enlarge the fields in order to get a bigger harvest, to have a better, let's say, reap, R-E-A-P, or crops. C. If the harvest is poor, there is always the possibility of a famine. So it's clear, if we cannot reap, R-E-A-P, or harvest or gather enough, let's say, food or products, so possibly we can just not satisfy ourselves with basic needs, food, and therefore we will be confronted with famine or starvation. Starvation, let me write it down. Starvation. Okay. 2. Abundant, and the noun form is abundance, means more than enough, very plentiful. Clear. It is urgent or necessary that the hospital have an abundant supply of blood in case of emergency. When patients need blood, actually they can just help them with that supply of blood. Pay attention to this structure. It is urgent that the hospital have. Why not has? Because before that should actually has been omitted. So the original sentence has been something like this, that the hospital should have, and should has been omitted because the subject is as the third person or entity and singular, therefore it must be has, but it is have because should has been omitted. An abundant harvest was predicted by the Secretary of Agriculture. So it was predicted by the secretary, a very important official or head of a government department or any official department, that is Secretary of Agriculture. They just made this prediction that actually there will be an abundant harvest. In recent years, an abundant number of complaints have disturbed the telephone company. Recently or lately, an abundant number means an increasing number of complaints. People show their dissatisfaction, have disturbed the telephone company. It means that people do not approve of their services of the telephone company. Pay attention again to this structure, that in recent years and recently, lately, generally we use the present perfect tense, have disturbed. See, a number, this is the, let's say, subject of this sentence, and the verb is have let's say disturbed. And pay attention when you use a number here, because of abundant we have an abundant number, but abundant can be, let's say, eliminated. When we use a number, the verb is actually plural. It is. When you use the number, actually the verb is singular, that is, it must be has here. But because of the fact that the author or writer has written a number, therefore the verb should be, let's say, plural in agreement. Okay, this is grammar, there is no specific reason for that. Number 3, uneasy means restless, disturbed, or anxious, nervous. Okay, Mrs. Spinner was uneasy about letting her son play in the vicinity of the railroad tracks because it is dangerous to play in the vicinity of the railroad tracks. So she was nervous, she was anxious about letting her son play. Let somebody do something. Do not use to before play. Near the railroad tracks. It is clear because it's a dangerous place or area or quarter. Okay. The treasurer was uneasy about the company's budget. Treasurer actually is in charge of just storing or keeping a record of financial, let's say, assets or treasures. So was nervous, let's say apprehensive or worried about the company's budget. So we were running out of money, perhaps, or it was not in a good condition. Arnold felt uneasy about the meeting even though he tried to act in a casual manner. So he was feeling worried. He was worried about or anxious about the meeting, even though he tried to act in a casual manner. He wanted to just hide his real feeling. Let me drink some water. Okay. Number 4, calculate. Find out by adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing figure. So these are the four principal actions in mathematics: adding, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying. When you calculate, and remember there is a difference between calculate and estimate. Calculate tends to be more accurate, but estimate is like a guess. But when you calculate something, it means that the let's say evaluation or mathematical action actually is more close to reality. Okay, the cook had to calculate the number of diners to see whether whether he could decrease his order for meat. The cook, a person who is in charge of just preparing food at a restaurant, had to calculate, not estimate because it must be precise, the number of diners or actually the number of people who just want to dine or have a meal, to see whether he could decrease or reduce his order or stock of meat. Okay. In order to see how expensive the car was, to calculate the, let's say, cost of the car, the buyer calculated the tax and other charges. So the buyer, person who wanted to purchase the car, had to just calculate the tax, the amount of tax, and also the other charges or expenses or expenditures. Let me write it. Okay. So see, I used an abacus to calculate my average. Abacus is an instrument, old-fashioned or old instrument that is used to just calculate. Okay, it's not a calculator or digitalized calculator. Number 5, absorb. It means to take in or suck up liquids and also interest greatly. The sponge absorbed the beer which had leaked from the keg. Sponge is a piece of material that is so absorbent, absorbed or just wiped out and just took in the beer, some alcoholic drink, which had leaked from the keg or barrel. Let me write it down. Barrel, a kind of container that is used for keeping beer, wine. Our bodies must absorb those things which will nourish them. Yeah, it is a part of our digestive system to absorb and also just change the food to energy so that we could just live. Will nourish them. Them refers to bodies. Okay. I became absorbed in what the teacher was saying and did not hear the bell ring. I was preoccupied. I was absorbed. Let me write preoccupied. I was preoccupied with what the teacher was saying, and therefore I did not notice the bell ring. Pay attention to this sensory verb, let's say principle. Sensory verbs are verbs that have something to do with our 5 basic senses, that is hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, and touching. So here something, after that the object actually, and then we have 2 possibilities, either a gerund or a bare infinitive. Here we have a bare infinitive, that is an infinitive verb without anything. No ed, no ing, no actually conjugation, nothing. But the other possibility is that actually it could be in a form of a gerund. Okay. Number 6, estimate. Estimate is the verb, estimate is a noun. Pronunciation changes. Form a judgment or opinion about. Guess. A.G. Foyt estimated that the auto race would commence at 9 o'clock. So he just thought or guessed or surmised that the car race or auto race would commence, means start. Do not confuse it with commerce, which is advertisement. This is commence, means start at 9 o'clock. I try to avoid making estimates on things I know nothing about. I admire this attitude. I do not make wild guesses on something that I don't know anything about. In your estimate or guess, who will be victorious in this conflict? Who will win the argument or combat or battle? 7. Morsel, a small bite, mouthful, tiny amount, usually of food. When Ronaldo went into the restaurant, he pledged to eat every morsel on his plate. So when he just entered the restaurant, he promised to eat every morsel on his plate. It means do not just eat from other people's plates, which is so impolite, and it is frowned upon. Let me write it down. It means it is strongly denounced or disapproved of. Susan was reluctant to try even a morsel of the lobster. She was unwilling to try to test even one bite of a lobster, which is a seafood. Okay. If you had a morsel of intelligence, it means if you were intelligent even a bit, you would be uneasy too. You too were worried or anxious. So since you are not intelligent enough, you are so carefree or indifferent. It's rather actually ironic to say. And this is conditional sentence type 2, which is an unreal situation. 8. Quota. Quota means a share of a total due from or to a particular state, district, person, etc. In simple words, quota means a limited amount of something, or a limited number, ratio. Okay, quota. Let me write ratio. Ratio, yeah, means some limitation. The company revealed a quota of jobs reserved for college students. The company showed or disclosed a quota, means a limited number of jobs reserved, just preserved or kept, just for college students. It means that the other candidates actually could not just have access to those jobs or could not apply to those jobs. There was a quota placed on the number of people who could migrate here from China. It It means there was a limitation to the number of people who wanted to just immigrate to this country from China, and this country is not clear. Lieutenant Dugan doubted that a quota had been placed on the number of people, on the number of parking tickets each police officer was supposed to give out. Lieutenant is a high rank in military services and air forces and military places or positions. Doubted, suspended, he was suspicious that a quota had been placed. It means that there was a limited number imposed on the number of parking tickets. Parking ticket is a kind of fining, let's say, violating or crazy drivers. Each police officer was supposed or expected to give out. So it means that actually there was a limitation to the number of parking tickets, let's say, given out by police officers. Threat, sign or cause of possible evil or harm. Menace, danger, peril. These are some synonyms. There is always the horrid threat that my job will be abolished. There is invariably or constantly a horrid or terrible, horrifying menace that my job will be abolished or terminated or ended. So if your job actually is cancelled, it is really disastrous and horrifying, terrifying. It is absurd or ridiculous to think that a tiny bug, usually an insect, could be a threat to a person. Yes, but it is true. For example, malaria could be transmitted from a tiny, let's say, mosquito. Anopheles, if I'm not mistaken, I don't exactly remember, but that disease, if not taken care of, can kill the person. You can be arrested for making a threat against someone's life. So if you threaten, the verb is threaten, somebody's life, or jeopardize or endangers, or, for example, bully or blackmail a person, you will be arrested. Number 10, ban means prohibit, means forbid. It is self-clear. The group unanimously means with one voice, all of them voted to ban all people who were under 6 feet tall. So all of the members of that group must be really tall, because 6 feet is equal to around 2 meters. Health officials are trying to expand their field in order to ban cigarette advertising from newspapers and magazines. So officials or secretaries or those who are on top are trying to expand their field or enlarge their field in order to ban cigarette advertising, it's clear, from newspapers and magazines. So they just want to exert influence and wield, let's say, influence or control to ban all cigarette or tobacco related advertising. I want to ban all outsiders from our discussion on security. This is so conservative of that person, to ban all outsiders or those who do not belong to, let's say, an organization or a campaign from our discussion on security. That's why I said he must be, or she must be, really conservative. Panic means unreasoning fear, irrational fear, fear spreading through a group of people so that they lose control of themselves. Panic, phobia, it's kind of irrational fear. The leader of the lost group appealed to them not to panic. So the leader, it must be a sport team, just requested them, refers to the group, lost group, not to panic. Don't worry, it's not the end of the world, and we have more chance. Okay. When the danger was exaggerated, a few people started to panic. So the danger was magnified, and therefore the people started to panic or to be afraid, terrified. The source of panic in the crowd was a man with a gun. The main reason or cause of panic in the crowd, in the multitude or group of people, was a man with a gun, an armed man. 12. Appropriate, fit, suitable, set apart for some special use. Remember, as a noun it is use, as a verb it is use. At an appropriate time, the chief promised to reveal his plan. At a suitable time, the chief or the boss or executive, it means chief executive, or even actually the head of the police station, promised to reveal or pledged to show or uncover his plan. Okay, the lawn was an appropriate setting for Aileen's wedding. Lawn is a land with grass, and that is beautiful. Was a perfect setting, a very great place or location or site, S-I-T-E, for her wedding. I'm not good at pronouncing names. C. After some appropriate prayers, the dinner was served. After some suitable prayers, in English we say grace. Let me write it down. When you say grace, it means that before having your meal, you show your thankfulness to God. For example, God, thank you that you have provided us with this food, and this is a kind of saying grace, which is nice. You show your gratitude or thankfulness. That's it. Remember, if you want to attend our online classes, just click here and you will be able to chat with me on my website at the LELB Society. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you're in Iran, because I'm an Iranian person, just subscribe to my Opera channel and follow me on Instagram to see beautiful and clear, expressive, let's say, flashcards in English. For example, some recently added expensive, device, some negotiations, bow, and minimal. And also, if interested, you can just contact me for our online classes. Thank you very much for your attention and consideration, and take care.